special exhibition, and we talk about that's the highlight of the ruling. We talk about back to the Western Han Dynasty. Here we bring you a bigger picture of that period. We talk about that's also the very first prosperous rule time, and also laid a solid foundation in the Chinese history. We always talk about that period of a prosperous rule of Wen and the Jing is considered to be a golden age in Chinese history. And here we bring you a vast cluster of collections from that Western Han Dynasty. So let's show our viewers a little bit of our collection, and also hope through our 1 hour live streaming, we hope to show our viewers the strengths, the power, and also the beauty of Xi'an Museum. We talk about here Xi'an, you know so well, it's a city of a lot of museums. So let's look inside. And also you could see that it's not just boring, that a lot of board here. Actually, you could see this is a very interesting interaction section. So here you could see that we divided the excavation, and we also divided that a period of time in 3 parts. So you're looking at this is also show our viewers that a history of a burial items, culture, and also system. So at the very beginning, so it's not a whole set of the cluster. And also you're looking at these. This is the Wendi Emperor's berry, and this is called the Yangling. And also here you could see that's a typical part. So you could see that's kind of a rectangle shape. So it's in a parallel shape. And also we talk about this is quite like the whole layout of the city. And then to Maoling. And here that's on top of the original layout. You could see that the outside they also have the additional burial items and also subordinate burial pits. So let's also go to see the excavation achievements. So we'll show our viewers a lot of treasures we got. And also we talk about this exhibition is also to show respect to the past 100-year effort in terms of the excavation work here in Shanxi. So here we hope to show our viewers that see a whole look and feel of the Western Han Dynasty. You're looking at here is the chapter 1. We talk about the background. A city represents the highest hierarchy of ruling. And I hope you could see that these are the 2 graphs, and you could see that's the layout formation. So we kind of give our viewers the comparison at the layout of the city and the layout of the imperial houses. So you could see that they kind of have that matching constructions in the imperial living places and also their burial cemeteries. So you could see that logic behind is the same. So you could see that this is not just the tombs of the emperor and his wives, and we talk about that also give you the idea about that hierarchy back then, and also we talk about that a burial culture. And we talk about especially the Han Dynasty attached a great importance to the system and hierarchy ranks. And also one of the important symbolic, that's the stamps. And this one represents the highest ranking of the army personnel. And one is the gold, and this one is the silver one. And this one belongs to the person in charge of the emperor's administration. So, for example, like the emperor's marriage. More the ritual administration people, so that you could see. So the golden one, of course, belonged to the highest ranking person, and then the silver, and then the copper one. So you could see that based on different material, that also give you idea of the different level of ranking. And also looking at the size of the sum, also quite different. You're looking at this one is very small, very tiny one, as also represents the lowest level of a hierarchy. And also for the burial items purpose, so it's also even make it smaller in terms of size. So you could see this is really a tiny one. And we talk about that in Han Dynasty, we talk about that's also the one of the very first prosperous time of period. So that give a lot of attention to develop its economy. So look like in Han Dynasty, you could see this is the currency, the coin they used back then. And also look at this is the golden currency. That's around 250 kilograms in weight. And we talk about this is the kind of the grant reward from the emperor. And also we talk about for the currency, also in different shape, and we talk about the Emperor of Wu believe that he actually was chosen. He was the chosen one, so that is also why he could really want to brought his luck to the others. So you could see that one of these way to bring luck to others is to make the shape of the coin, the shape of currency in that lucky figure. And you're looking at this is one of the earliest clock. So this put water inside. So by mirror, we talk about this kind of like hourglass. So they use their experience to calculate the time. And this is quite larger in size. This is 2 tigers engraved, and that's a very special tiger. We call them white tiger. And looking at these 4, this is the bricks. And we talk about, you're looking at that's different. We talk about that's mysterious inscriptions that's also engraved on top of that bricks. So we talk about these different kind of the animals, or we talk about that the very strong and powerful creatures decorated on different bricks, and that bricks will be decorated to the houses and different directions. So we're looking at that 4 different creatures. So they will be decorated to the north, south, east, and west, respectively. And also looking at this is a jade that's also showed the quite the high-tech skills of that jade gray. And also could see that they are the dancers. So that's the jade carvings. It's really vivid. And also looking at that their hats, and also looking at the kind of the different color, and also looking at that back, especially the tail of their clothes, that's in different color. Actually, it's not really painted in different color. The original jade actually is in different colors. So that's we talk about the jade carving masters. So smart. They could really use one piece of jade to bring you these really vivid sculptures, and also in different colors. And we also use the high-tech technology to kind of get the lines of their face. So we tried our best to bring their original facial expression back to the jade sculpture. And also this set of collection related to war. So you could see that's the soldiers. So this actually we found and excavated from the subordinated pits. And we know the owner of that pit, or the owner of that tomb, actually belonged to one of the high-ranking military officials. So we're looking at their hands, like kind of like holding something. We know that holding kind of weapon. And also looking at next to their food, that's the shade with them. So looking at their facial expression, and also the clothes is all different. Some with the longer armored clothes. And some with the armored, some without. So we could see that maybe they from different units. So we talk about like the armored really bring additional weight, right? So we talk about that for the attacking role, that they really need to move faster and agile, so they do not need to wear a lot of really heavy clothes. So judging from their clothes, you could tell that they're from different units of army, and they serve different roles. And also looking at this one, its hand gesture different from others. And we talk about this is actually kind of the person holding the flag, so the whole army know exactly which direction they should head to. And we're looking at this is a pot. So the pottery figurine And we know originally actually they wear silk materials. Right now you think that they're naked, but actually back then that they wear a silk material. And we talk about back then silk could only used by a emperor family. And we talk about that for the subordinate bits, that's not only with the ritual structure, with the a bit of the army personnel, but also with criminals. So you could see that we not only see the army personnel, but also we could see that a criminal also buried together with the tomb of the empire.
都不太一样，对。那这边的这些东西，
这边我们能看到3件弩机，最左边的出自霸陵，最右边的出自茂陵，中间是杨陵，这也就是爷爷、爸爸、儿子、父子3代的。
So we talk about that the figures we found, it's all naked because that their silk or a linen garment and wooden arms have rotted after buried deep for a very long time.
两边大的就是我们真正的人类来使用的。我们可以看到，在茂陵的这一件弩机上面，还有一只小小的错金的凤鸟图案。
So you could see that we could see exactly the pattern on top of different tools. So you could see that's kind of a hat tag owned by the artist, by the craftsman. And we're also looking at this is the cavalryman. Cavalryman.
就是说他们是用来射箭打仗的，而前排大的呢，可能是仪仗或者是侦察用的骑兵。
So they have different ropes for the larger horses, they for leading the troops, and for the smaller one that's for the attacking purpose.
看到那个马上面其实是透着红色的，看得不是很清楚。
这一件呢是杨陵的骑兵用，他的脸型就很奇怪了。对，很圆。
So we could see that arrow, a bag of arrows, also with the cavalryman.
普通的中原人，这个可能是一些胡记，也就是。
And also we're looking at. We bring that the facial expression back, so you could see that the look actually different from the original Han people. So we talk about it, and also looking at that's the people from back then from other places, not from Han Dynasty's places. So that's they got the trust from the emperor, and they also included into the army troops. And looking at this one, it's kind of like holding something. You can think that we call it a driver, so actually is to drive the carriage for the empress. And judging from his clothes, you also could tell that not just a random normal person. So looking at the clothes or the gesture, we could tell that we call them a driver. And these two, with their knees on the ground, so we talk about that. Also a row of the drivers. So you could see that the one standing that's to drive a carriage with a higher ranking, and we talk about that the A2 with their knees on the ground. They also drive the coverage for the emperor family, but for a lower the ranking personnel, for the female personnel as well. And we talk about that. It's not just like we only found that the top of the body of this person actually back then, they just made half of the body.
可能是当时的工匠偷工减料，所以导致我们只能看到半身，只做了半身。
接着我们来看一个小小的印章，这个印章呢上面有3个字“长信旧”，它是薄太后南陵出土的。薄太后
And this is another seal.
汉文帝的妈妈，她去世的时候呢，已经是汉景帝继位了。
And this is from the empress, the mother of the emperor. And we're looking at judging from the character engraved on top of the seal, as these seal belong to the person managing the horses for the mother of the emperor.
首先，我们来看这边，左上角的这2件文物呢，我们叫做当炉，它是在马的前额的一种装饰品。这2件是鎏金的。
So looking at this table, actually, this all related to the horses. So that's the different decoration and different part.
这个伞盖可以遮阳，可以挡雨，而伞盖的周围呢，就会有一圈盖钩帽。 这个盖钩帽就像我们今天雨伞上的那个小帽子一样，是用来张开它的伞盖的。
So looking at this number 46 and 47 as decorated to the canopy.
就是薄太后南陵出土的。
And also we talk about looking at that picture, could see that's very clearly. And we talk about that the canopy need to have a holder, right? And this is the holder. And this is the holder. So basically you put that the stick to the slot.
然后用它来张开，这样御手呢就不用再管这个弩机了。等到要用的时候，在上面一搭就可以把它打开，然后用来攻击敌人。然后这边还有一组
And also that's the arrow holder. So if they had encountered the enemy, they also could get the arrow to attack. And also look at this very fine, subtle details. And also we could see that different animals engraved on top of that, like a tiger, an elephant. So we also could see that for the emperor, they showed the highest respects to the mother. So you could see that he tried to bury the most precious items to the mother's tomb.
由我们中国在美国的一些大使馆，还有学者，突然发现，在美国的一家拍卖行在拍卖这样的黑俑，他们觉得这个俑非常像汉阳陵出土的陶俑，就发电报，发消息回来问。
And we're looking at.
然后我们这边的警方在追查之后发现，他们是从江村大墓这里被盗出去的。
真的是属于我们汉景帝。
Like some of the tomb figure actually we got from overseas, and these actually we found by the overseas Chinese.
薄太后陵的旁边原来还有一座大墓，由此才慢慢的开始了对于江村大墓的调查，直到今年才确定这就是汉文帝的霸陵。而这些俑呢，也是当时在拍卖前半个小时被紧急叫停。最后呢，我们中国的专家像焦南峰老师他们飞到美国举行了听证会，
So actually, that's the we found these in the United States. It's just like they have an hour before that the auction company bring all these to the auction
然后这边的
activity.
是叫做纹理，也就是一些做文书工作的
That we believe that could be something related to this town here in Shanxi. And then finally, we brought all these
这就是说，当时
figures
把一
back.
些毛笔插在这个小孔里头，然后它的腰间在我们看不到的位置呢，其实是会画着或者挂
And
着一把
that's
小
we're
刀
looking
的。
at the hole on top of their hat. That's kind of the hole to put the a branch pan inside.
所以呢，我们
And also they also with their knife, a little bit knife with them. So because that for the case, if they wrote something wrong, they could use that knife
这就是用来洒扫迎接主人的。然
to
后我们来看几个
erase kind of
更更高的
the a wrong
像这个
characters.
会做的仕女俑，它就明显是手中拿着
And
物品来
looking
示
at
范
this is
主人的
all the a maid servants. And looking at that also there was very beautiful colors.
然后旁边的这个呢，就是
跳舞的，
舞人舞女俑。汉代
And
时期是
we
非常
could see that this is very easier to tell that
像
the
流亡的
the dancers.
还有
And we know Han Dynasty attached great importance to develop music
我都很喜欢这样的
and dancing.
表演、舞蹈表演。
到这儿我们来看一件比较特殊的物品，这件四神纹的染器。
染器是做什么的呢？这个形状大小也是用来吃喝。
对，这个
And
是用来
looking
吃
at
喝的
here,
它的作用
this
是
you think this is
像
for
火锅
for
料
food?
哦
Yes.
就蘸料的那个碗是吧？
是
这么讲究，就是他们也会区分的很严格。
咱们今天吃火锅，火锅是热的，所以料碗要是凉的，这样才不会太烫。
So we talk about the
而
hot
古人呢他们是白
pots
水煮肉
today
用量的话
that we kind of have a different bowls.
因为
And for the ancient time, for the Han Dynasty, we talk about that here there's a bottom that kind of be a place to heat the bowl so that to make sure that the food inside the bowl
我们看看它
not
器身
be
上的
cold.
纹阳信家同宗，能看到吗？阳信家呢，就说明她是阳信长公主家的器物。阳信长公主这个人就很有名了，她是汉武帝刘彻的姐姐。
So normally when we see these kind of the cultural relics, you could tell that the owner of this item, so you could see that you could find their name, so you know that this is from one of the princess, and also sometimes as the character also show you that the weight of this item, and also we talk about
上面贴了一个名片啊，这个是用来干什么的？介绍一下。
this is kind of a mark, and also to tell you exactly this who is the owner of this item and what this item for. So we know this is from one of the princess, and also we know that this is kind of a wine container.
是的。紧接着我们来看另外的一组宫廷生活的用品。我们前面看到很多的仕女俑，她们都是贵族。
And also we see that the censors as well.
是铺有席子的。
And in the Han Dynasty, we talk about that the maid servants not just put their knees on the ground.
底下垫的东西是吗？
对，这是用来镇压她的席子四角的，这样她就可以方便的跪在席子上。然后这些人呢，他们在日常生活当中还会用到大量的玉器。我们来看这件玉杯，
哦，这个外面是镶金的是吧？
是它是用金箍箍起来的一件玉杯，和田羊脂玉做的。这件玉杯呢是汉宣帝刘询
And this is also made from
用来
jade.
承接一些露
And
水
this is a
然后
jade
呢
cup.
长生的一件物品。
做的也是非常精致啊，用一个玉杯外面箍了几圈金子。
它壁厚只有0.2厘米。
And
是
you
非
could
常
see
薄
that
的
the
一件
jade and also dedicated
吧
with
就是非常
gold.
非常薄。
然后呢，我们
And we believe that come the cup to collect dew.
哦，这个我见过，它其实是我们这边的一个。
So that's very sophisticated in terms of making skilled.
霸凌所见
And we know this one. Actually, this is one of a well-known item.
装饰。重要的是，当炉的顶部是有2只小马的。如果仔细
And
观察
this
会
is
有
one of
几
the
个
decorated item
这是
on the horse.
文明的风格。
And also you could see that these are only two horses decorated on top of it. It's in color gold. And we talk about actually this kind of style not really originated from Han. Actually, this is actually learned from other nations, from other culture.
厚度是还是0.2厘米。
对，也是0.2厘米。当时古人的这个
very thin, so the thickness just around 0.2 centimeter.
游览之旅呢，也到这里就结束了。当然呢，文物的历史、文物的故事是非常非常多的，我们不可能用这么短短的。
Of course, this is just the top of the iceberg to show our viewers that the items, the excavation, and also the archaeological achievements we got here. We talk about this is something really tangible that might bring us to travel back to the history, to learn that the culture, especially as the prosperous time period in Han Dynasty. And also we talk about cultural relics. We also would like to know more about the restoration of cultural relics. So we come here to this room, and next to us are masters. Mr. Zhao, working for cultural relics restoration. So Mr. Zhao right now working on one of these items. This is we could see this is the maid servant. So right now we're coming to the first stage. So first stage is to clean the cultural relic. So basically we bring the mud, the soil from the cultural relic. So talk about normal working process. When we got one cultural relics, first take pictures and also write a plan of restoration, and then to the next step, as with our hands on for restoration purpose, and then we put a color on. We bring different parts, the pieces, back to the figure, and then kind of to finish the whole process. So we try our best to recover and restore the cultural relics. So we try our best to bring the original look and feel, the textures, as we can. And so you're looking at this is the cultural relics we have. And the other one we're looking at, that's the poultry dog. And also we see the poultry horse, right? So looking at this, it is for the display purpose. And we talk about that back then. That's also because we have that the cavalry man. So you're looking at the cavalry man. So look at their legs. It seems like they actually ride on something, right? So we bring that horses so that with that a model of horse that help us to restore the cavalryman. So today is the International Museum Day. So welcome all of you here in Hanyangling Museum. So when it comes to the restoration of cultural relics, we really like to know your typical day of your life or of your work. So for us, we base on this cultural heritage. So we base on the early years excavation. So for us, our job is to protect and restore the cultural relics.
以去给它进行一个保护修复。这是我们日常的一个基本的工作。当然，临时
So this is our the jobs, and also we have the ad hoc work for like kind of the special excavation or special events. And also in the recent years, we also have the work on site. So our restoration work also carried out just next to the excavation site. And this is kind of our lab. We call it laboratory. So looking at this is a really large table. You could see that a lot of restoration work actually is working on this table. So you could see that we wear gloves and the different tools for us to clean the cultural relics. And then later on, we'll put a color on, so it's based on a different situation of different cultural relics. And also looking at these two. And these two actually, that's to help us to observe the dust. So when we do some of the cleaning work or polishing work, this is kind of to protect our cultural relics personnel and also the cultural relics themselves. So this help us to clean and to take out the dust. So you could see that on the shelf, we could see a lot of the restored works. So we could see that maid servants. Also we could see that animals, or we could say that the dogs, the poultry dogs, poultry sheep. And also the bricks. And also this is a poultry calls, pigs. And also the hens. And also this is the food container or the grain container. So you could see that you still can tell with that the grain glaze at the outside, at the surface. So this is all excavated from the subordinate pits. So talking about that poultry figurine, so here you look at this board, this is the normal process. So that's not only limited to poultry figurines, also apply to other materials of cultural relics. So when we got one piece of the cultural relics waiting for restoration, so the first thing that we need to get the visual materials. So that's kind of like before-after files. So we need to get that before files. So we have that the files for these relics. We need to build and establish a file, a record. So we need to wait and also to measure the cultural relics, and also to analyze the material of the cultural relics. So we need to tell what exactly the original material, what's the structure and the framework of that, the relics. And we don't know that it's buried for more than hundreds of years. So we need to know exactly that whether there's any verse. Inside, and then we talk about that, come to the clean part. But before we clean the cultural relics, we need to lay out a restoration and protection plan. And all the plan actually should follow the national standards. And also we talk about different plan as the custom-made plan for each every cultural relic. So when all these pre-preparation done, and then come to the cleaning part. And for the special parts, if they rotate seriously, then we would also take special steps to clean and to reinforcing the structure. And we talk about normally we found incomplete cultural relics. And also especially when we found a lot of the cultural relics here that also made in wood. So what exactly standards we're following? So we need to bring that the whole complete piece that we call the restoration. So for us, we talk about the restoration. We talk about that we need to bring less human interference to the cultural relics. So you're looking at, we talk about when we found that the cultural relics without the arms, then we not really talk about that we should bring arms back to that cultural relics. We talk about if necessary to bring that arms back, especially we have a quite solid and enough document to support us know exactly what kind of arms it look like, then we could bring that arms back. But if we not really have sufficient document or the evidence to support us to know exactly what kind of arms we're looking for, then we just leave it as it is. And then after all these restoration, we will give that kind of a layer of protection to the cultural relics. And one of the last steps of whole working process of restoration is to finish the visual filming, so we could get pictures and to bring that to the files. So we have a quite a complete document. So we're looking at this is the gypsum. So you could see that this is the kind of the information we wrote here, and we know that this kind of we talk about that the plaster package. So we don't know exactly that which pits we got the cultural relics. And we know that inside this package, that's the cultural relics we got from that's the wooden horse. So basically, we actually got that cultural relics buried inside this package. So we talk about that because all these cultural relics buried underground for more than 1,000 years. So it's kind of a safer way to move these cultural relics from the pit, from the excavation site to the restoration laboratory. So you could see this is the picture as the excavation site. And this is the archaeological achievements. So basically looking at all these packages actually from these areas.
这个陪葬墓这个区域就是在这里打包出土的。我们把它打包出土回来以后呢，然后您刚才也提到了，可能就是说看到有类似于照片上这样的红色的这种印记，这个就是当时，比如说我们
So you could see that this is
它车马器上表面车马器它的很多构件是用木材做的。
we talk about we got from the wooden horses. We talk about because a lot of these cultural relics actually made in wood. So we package all this in the gypsum, and then we kind of to know exactly what kind of the original material, and then we will make a following restoration plan. So you're looking at that's the package. So you could see that some's in color white. That's the color of a leather. So this all packed from the excavation site and then transfer back to the restoration laboratory.
你看这边是有一个这应该是一个小碎片吧？
对，对，因为它很疏松，它结构。
So you could looking at this well protected.
那我们下面来看一下，就是这个文物修复它具体的流程到底是怎么样来做的？我们赵老师已经在这儿进行修复了。
And we know that some of the cultural relics are quite loosened in structure, so we just make sure that we pay a great attention to transfer all these cultural relics. So we talk about let's try to be a restoration staff. Then the first step, we need to put on the gear.
好，然后这个还必须要佩戴上手套去进行这个操作。来，好，戴一下。
To put on the gloves.
待会儿可以先看一下我们赵老师的这个清理的这个环节，先看一下我们赵老师是怎么做的。然后待会儿我们也会向这个让您体验一下我们这个日常的这个工作。
你像咱们现在正在修的这个文物，对，就是一般来说要多久的时间它才能修复好
？So right now, the restoration work made by Mr. Zhao, how long does it take? So there's no exactly the required time to finish restoration. That depends on that's the kind of the situation of the excavated cultural relics. We talk about is it seriously rotted or seriously destroyed, then normally could take as long as 2 months.
我们可以看，其实就是基本上就是这件陶俑，对，就是这一类陶俑，我们会用，这是它头部前额这个地方，你看这个是眉毛的位置，这是前额，这是发顶那个地方。
So you could see that this is bringing us the
刚才我说一些基本信息，首先你在这个冰海图上，你要明确。
basic information. So here you know exactly. So here you could see that the 8 number of these cultural relics, the size, the weight.
这是在病害图，就是说这件残片上，文物残片上它有哪些病害。
And then we're looking at what kind of the issues we need to pay attention.
然后呢，还有这个泥土附着物，对不对？头发的这个表面上泥土附着物比较多。
So you could see that we have some broken parts and we also have dusts. And also you could see some parts actually peeling off. And then we bring the kind of the look of the whole face. So you could see that basic information we know here at the neck part. We have some broken parts, and also on the faces, you could see that we highlighted the places where it's covered by dust and soils. The smart. So you could see that. So here we have quite kind of that. These kind of a basic information of each and every cultural relics.
绘制文化病害图的方式有很多，有用这个手绘的，这是传统的手绘方式，也有这种用去电脑。
Of course, there are different ways to make the cultural relics basic information, and you could see you can write down by pencils and pens, and also we also use computers to draw the basic information of these different pieces of cultural relics. And also talking about plants. So you could see that we have a different industrial code of conduct and also different industrial standards. And also we talk about that what kind of information we need to record, and we also have these industrial standards to tell us what kind of the rules we need to follow.
图例呢是这个，图例这个陶制彩绘文物病害与图示，你可以看，我做图例的时候就是以参照这个行业标准。
And also you're looking at the graph symbols. So that the graphic data actually is not something that we want to draw in our way. We also have standards. So this is kind of the you're looking at that the disease. That's also we need to look into, and also they have the definition of a different disease. So that including the friction, that including the broken pieces. So they have a different information and requirements laid out very clearly. And also you're looking at the different symbols, how you use the symbols or graphs to mark different categories. So this is the industrial standards, and this in total 19 diseases, and we should mark that out. So we have a set of rules we are following. So that's the preparation work. And then when we finish all the preparation work, and then that come to the hands-on work. So basically we sit down here at this table.
那我们现在看到这个俑，如果咱们要修复的时候，第一步是进行什么？ So for the first step, you need to clean, right? Clean the mud, clean the soil covered. So this is a bamboo stick. Provide a certain level of resilience, so can help us to do really that detailed cleaning work. So here we could see that these are broken arms, right? So after we clean, we could see that whether we have that broken pieces, we could stick that back. If we did not find the broken arms, and then we just leave as what it is. So we not use glue, right, to bring that pieces back. We use the plaster to stick the broken pieces back. So that's a very special. That's a special made glue we use. So you could see that mud right here. You could see that. So you need to be really, really soft. So first you find a place very flat. And because that you could see that we still can see the original color, right? So first you could really find the places where there's no color covered. So you could know exactly that whether that the strands is okay. You could use these strands to bring that mud off. If okay, then this is kind of like testing the water to know exactly whether that is soft enough to bring the mud off, and also pay attention not to get the original color off from the cultural relics.
那我们下面拿棉签来试一试。像这种磨的比较牢固的一些这个东西，我们可以用这个。
So we not only have a bamboo stick, we also have a cotton bud.
拿这个棉签轻轻地。
So you could use this Q-tip to get some water. So we try to get that mud off, right? So we talk about if it's really hard to use bamboo stick to get that mud off, and you can use that Q-tip to get the mud off.
我现在给您一个棉签，您试一下，沾点去一步。
It's not an easy work.
就这样转着。对。 对，粘一下，就亲自把它表面的浮尘粘走。对，然后这个我们就要把它收掉，然后这边可以继续。我真的，我感觉这修就是咱们这一小块儿，可能都需要费很长时间，需要很有耐心，对，很小心去清理。
So this is really time consuming. And always, you should be always patient.
然后在这个转动的过程中，你也要观察，就是拿到棉签转动几下之后，可以拿下来看一下，上面是不是除了粘掉的这个泥土或者灰尘之外，是不是有粘连一块。
And always need to see that you just bring the soil off, or you also bring that painted part off as well. If just soil or dust off, then it's okay, that this method is good enough. If no, then you need to try other ways. So we have different tools, different ways available to get soil and dust off.
就是在每一个不同的部位，我们可能还要用不同的这个清理工具，换不同的东西。我们这个是做什么用的？这个是吹耳球，比如说我们刚才，您像这个，我们看这个地方，就是它的这个表面的浮尘或者表面，就是感觉到能用刷子就可以把它刷掉的，我们。
So you think that dust that can easily to clean them with the brush? And then you could use that to get the dust off. It's like kind of like a wind blower, so you can blow the dust off.
好，准备好了。这个一上去，感觉这个土的颜色就会变掉。对，因为它一湿水之后，泥土的颜色和本身材料的那个颜色会重合了，对，比较接近。真的，这一小小这一块儿，我感觉清理都要费非常长的这个时间。你像可能这。
Once again, you're looking at that this is really time consuming. So for cleaning work, that's maybe this very small piece you are looking at. That takes at least half a day to clean just this small piece.
好了吗？浇水。好。那我们清理完了之后，下一步就是把它粘上。就对于它这
So the next step
这个文物来说
is to stick the broken pieces back.
粘的时候一块粘，我们先把这个先
要放到一起，
看有没有缺失。
So first you need to look at whether this is all the items we found or there's still anything missing. So first you're looking at whether this is the intact part. So looking at the existing broken pieces, everything we have here.
残片，它是实际上是比较靠里面的，所以这个时候我们就要考虑一个先后的顺序，因为有的时候经常发现。
And also you need to know that which part we should stick first. Right. So you also need to think about the order. So first we got the smaller pieces. And to just let you know, for this one, this is just for the practice purpose, so it's not the real stuff, it's not the real cultural relic. But still, not the logic is the same. The working process is always the same. So first we're looking at, we bring the smallest pieces back. We talk about the cultural relics as really high-skilled work, and the slow work yields fine products, as always applies to the cultural relics restoration work.
你也可以来试一下，到时候粘的时候它要一块放进去。是。好。对，你可以先试着把这两面都涂上胶，然后把它放在这，小心不要粘到手套上。把这个大片先给它挪开。是哪一边来着？我一下就忘了。不用抹胶，你先试着放角度。这个边，你先试着放角度，看看能不能很好的放进去。对。哦。可以再贴合一些，对。这样。嗯，对，找好这个角度上，你就知道给哪一面去。 抹一点这个胶了。我们胶水量是不是也不能过？哦，用这边。对，因为上面是不是沾有棉花？重新换一个吧，重新换一个用吧。行。在抹胶水，它的量有没有说？尽量靠中间。啊，尽量靠中间，涂一点。我这已经都抹的有点多了。
So for the glue, make sure you don't apply too much, and you put the glue at the center part. So you put the glue at the both sides.
这个粘度会像我们的502那么粘吗？应该不会吧？
粘度是粘，但是它这个干的比较慢。哦。固化的会时间长一些。所以我们一会儿还要把它固定一下。
所以这个跟我们一般用的胶水其实也不太一样，是咱们特制的一种粘的这个胶。
干需要一晚上。
一晚上。对。
also make sure that we not really get the glue out. So we don't want to have a secondary contamination or pollution to the cultural relics. So that is why you're looking at we not use a Q-tip to apply the glue, because the Q-tip still includes cotton, right? So we use the bamboo stick to apply the glue.
会更慢？这个我觉得相对来说都应该算是比较快的，因为它这个茶口断面看，相对比数来说还比较平整，也比较干净。前期我们都已经清洗过，也比较干净，这算是比较好抹的了。
And actually, you're looking at it, this is quite kind of the easy piece, because still that's a quite clean and a flight fraction. So easier to apply glue. So still pay attention not to let the glue flow to other places. So for us, this kind of large piece is really the easy piece. And for this kind of glue, it's because it's a special made glue, so it's take almost 1 day to let the glue dry.
刷一层这个丰富剂，然后刷丰富剂的作用呢，其实就是为了，就是如果说是在这个正式的拼接这种过程中没有对好，或者出现什么这个不太理想的状况的时候，我们可以很轻易的把它再拿这个粘接剂再给它轻轻的取下来，然后也不至于伤到这个文物本体。
And then we also will have the last step that will put an additional layer of protection. So once again, you're looking at this is not the real piece of the actual cultural relics, it's more for the practice purpose. But the logic, everything, working process, everything is the same compared to the real piece. So we use the cotton bud to clean this actual glue. Too much glue. But we talk about that, how much the amount of glue applied, that really depends on your years of experience. So with many years of experience, you know exactly how much glue you need for this kind of piece.
经过粘接的插口，我们都要检查一遍，及时把这个外衣的胶给它清理掉。你再放一下。
我看它，您这是水是吗？
这不是，这是酒精。
哦，酒精。
And then right now you're looking at we now apply water to it. This is the alcohol or the arsenal right now we apply. So that's kind of additional cleaning work to make sure there's no actual glue living at the surface of the cultural relics.
你看我们赵老师的这个都是很轻的这种手法，很慢很轻。
像咱们学就是进入这个职业。
So be slow and be soft. These are the two really important key words when it comes to cultural relics restoration work.
先把它。
And then we use paper tape.
然后这边再来一下，底下那个地方，你再来一下，就是拉一下，然后再顺便
For the reinforcing purpose.
而且它一般就不会对这个表面的彩绘造成这个影响。你再从这边拉一下。
And we talk about paper tapes.
拉一下。
It's easy to take it off and also will not impact the colored layer of the cultural relics. So just show our viewers that's one of the cultural relics restoration work. We talk about the glue. This is very special glue, so that take normally a day to be dried. And then the day after, we will take the paper tape off. So that's really the seamless working process. So we talk about that really time-consuming to finish the whole process. So once again, we talk about this is the duplicated pieces. It's not the real piece, so don't worry. But still, that's for the practice purpose. But my hands really shaking. So back to your experience. So I'm for my first time to really hand on the real piece. I'm so excited, but also really, really thrilled. We talk about this kind of the opportunity that we take that opportunity to talk to the ancestor, to really travel back the times. So that's a really wonderful experience. But still, we have the strict working process. We have the industrial standards. Everything we have that policies, rules we need to follow. So we also have the solid and also the well sorted plan. So we need to follow that plan for restoration work.
谢谢赵老师。那其实今天我们直播为了让大家就是更多的体验我们这个流程步骤。
So we just try our best to show our viewers that exactly what kind of restoration should look like. So to give our viewers a quick look of their work, but still this is really time consuming, and also we will show you more about their work.